Shalom and welcome to Questions and Answers with Rabbi Eric T. Today's question comes from Jonathan, and his question comes from Mark chapter 15, where we read these words, "At the 9th hour Yeshua cried out with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which is translated, my God, why have you abandoned me?" So Jonathan's question is, did God abandon Yeshua when he was on the execution stake or the cross? How could that happen? How could God abandon his own son? How can we explain this? And is this actually what the text is saying, or what Yeshua is trying to transmit to his disciples at that time? The answer to the question is no, God did not abandon Yeshua when he was on the cross. God can't abandon God. Remember that Yeshua is God manifest in the flesh, that he is God robed in flesh dwelling among us. It's important to understand God cannot abandon God. So what is Yeshua saying when he says, my God, why have you abandoned me? Well, if you have a Bible and you turn to Psalms 22, you'll see these words. It says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Or why have you abandoned me? These are the words, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is the words that Yeshua cried out from the cross. Interestingly enough, while Yeshua is speaking in this moment on the cross, he's quoting in Aramaic. This text is in Aramaic, not even in Hebrew, that's quoted within the context of this Greek book. There's a number of places where there are Hebrew or Aramaic words that are used in the text, but every time they're used there, they're put there specifically so that we would understand there's a reason these words were not translated, but rather just brought into the text itself. In this case, it was a way of Yeshua saying, turn to Psalms 22. Remember, the Bible, contrary to our modern day Bibles that all have chapters and verses and numbers in them, the Bible itself doesn't have numbers in the verses, and you don't say turn to this or turn to that and look here at verse this. You recited the first portion of the text, and then you would know where to turn. In this case, it begins with Psalms 22, and it's verse 2 or verse 1, depending on whether you have a Jewish Bible or a Christian Bible. And it says, my God, why have you forsaken me? In the Aramaic, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. And he goes on to say, my God, I've cried out by day, but you did not answer. And it goes on to talk about how he put his trust in them. He was despised by people. They spit at him. They shook their heads. Let him rescue him since he delights in him. All of these things, the bulls of surrounded me, strong bulls of Bashan. They open their mouths. They're tearing at me like a roaring lion. I pour out like water. My bones are disjointed. If you read this psalm, it is so picturesque of what's happening in the crucifixion. And it begins with the words, my God, why have you forsaken me? But when we go down a little further and we actually read through the psalm, it says, verse 24, for he has not despised or disdained the suffering of the lowly one, nor has he hidden his face from him, but when he cried to him, he heard. And so what Yeshua is telling his disciples, that while I'm dying on this cross, while I'm giving my life for you, while I'm becoming the atonement for you, while I'm shedding my blood for you, God has not abandoned me. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Read Psalms 22. It's telling you what's happening. It's a picture of what's taking place. And know that while it might look outwardly that God has abandoned me, and by extension you, God has not abandoned me. He has not hidden his face from me. He has not turned his back on me. None of those things that you hear in modern day teaching concerning the words Yeshua is saying there, these are not words that are put forth in lack of faith or sorrow or sadness that God has turned his back on him. But these are words of encouragement that Yeshua is saying, what you see here is horrible, but this is being done for your betterment. This is being done for you. And God has not turned his back on me, just like it says in Psalms 22. I hope that this answered your question, Jonathan, and if it has, I hope you'll share it with others, those that are watching. I hope you'll also share, and if you haven't already done so, that you'll subscribe to this channel, and that way you'll know when there's a future video coming forth. Thank you again. If you have a question you'd like answered, if you'll email me at RabbiEricT@britam.org, I'll answer it on an upcoming video. And once again, thank you and shalom.